Let's go to page 145 in grammar. 145. Okay, talking about commas today. You probably discovered this by now, but there are a lot of comma rules, a lot, comma of comma rules. It used to be, I remember as a kid, my teacher used to tell me in the old days that, wherever you pause in a sentence is where you put a comma. That's what I learned. And actually, there's reasons for commas, and that there's a lot of reasons for commas. So last week, I think we talked about some reasons not to have commas. So it's confusing, but we got this, right? You'll see the pattern once you start seeing, okay, I see how this works. It will get easier and easier as it goes, but this is a new comma rule for us. And it's just a review right here. Week 3, way back at the beginning of the year, you learned that an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. We know that it describes. Often two or more adjectives come before a noun. The adjectives are coordinate if each adjective independently describes the noun that it follows. So we're talking about coordinate adjectives, and we're going to talk about another kind of adjective in a minute, but coordinate. So a comma is used to separate items in a sentence. Use a comma to separate coordinate adjectives because the order of coordinate adjectives is not important. The adjectives are separated with a comma. And it's kind of like the same rule. Good morning, Jamie. I mean, JC, sorry. I looked at your JC. Good morning, JC. We're on page 145. And um, the thing about the commas, like if you think about a who which clause that has commas, the who which clause can be removed from the sentence. So there's essential and non-essential. I'm just giving you a connection here because if it's non-essential to the sentence and you can take it out, we use commas. And in my mind, this is how my brain works because I have to be visual. Um, the commas are there to show me I can cut it out if I need to. They're like little cut marks to me. I don't know. This is how I think. So when I see a who which clause that has commas, it means it's non-essential. I can take it out if I want to. It's not going to change the sentence. And so when you have coordinate adjectives and they independently describe the noun, that means you can take one out and the other one will describe it, or take the other one out and the other adjective will describe it. So that's why I use a comma. And to me, that helps. If it helps you, great. If not, just go with this rule. It is used to separate coordinate adjectives. So there are two tests here. Two tests help determine whether the adjectives before a noun are coordinate. Can you reverse their order? And can you add and between them? If you answer yes, the adjectives are coordinate. Use a comma. So you can try those two tests, reverse them or add and between them. If you answer yes to either one of those or both of those, they are coordinate adjectives and you use a comma. So here's your example. They entered the untouched, thick forest. The two adjectives untouched and thick describe the noun forest. Are they coordinate adjectives? Do they need a comma? Here's the test. Reverse the order. The thick, untouched forest. Still sounds okay. Yes, you can reverse the order. Still works. Add and between the adjectives. The untouched and thick forest. Yes, you can add and. So that tells us they're coordinate. Sometimes if you reverse it or add and, it doesn't sound right. It sounds weird. So we'll look at those in a minute too. Yes, Kaden?
Does it have to be both of them to tell, or is it just one?
So you check with both of them, actually. So is that what you mean? Like if we reverse it like they did, you want to reverse and put thick first? Yeah. Um, so yeah, you're looking at both to answer your question. So here it is with the comma. So they entered the untouched comma thick forest. That's correct. That's how you would do that because it passes the test that you can reverse it and add and between. So that tells me put a comma. Thick and untouched are coordinate adjectives and separated with a comma. So and I'll explain a little more in a second. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Okay, so add a comma between coordinate adjectives. So that's all you're going to do for this part of grammar in your book is look to see are they coordinate? Are there two adjectives in the row? And do they pass the test? Then put a comma in. Marian was a courageous, thoughtful maiden. And just so you know, courageous and thoughtful, those are both opinions about the maiden, and I'll explain why I said that in a minute. But when they come from the same category, that also tells you they're coordinate adjectives. All right. Let's skip over to 147. How about harmony? Can you read the sentence, please?
The stranger, who was still annoyed because of his unjust, harsh thrashing, did not readily agree.
Okay, good. Nice job. So thrashing is like a whipping, basically. It could be thrashing around in the water, trying to get out of the water, but it can also be like a whipping with a whip. Um, so yeah, it's pretty intense right now in this part of the story. So thrashing is actually considered a noun, even though it has ing. You might think it's a verb, but the way it's used here, it's going to be a noun. I'll just give you a heads up on that. So article, go ahead and find that. And then Caden, what are the two nouns there?
Stranger,
Yes.
and then thrashing.
And then thrashing. Good. Good job. And then, hi, William. I see you now. Good morning. How about William? You do the four adjectives.
Harsh,
Good.
unjust,
Good.
this,
Good. There's one more. And it's not before the noun this time, somewhere else in the sentence, but it's describing the stranger.
annoyed,
Yes, very good. So even though annoyed has an ed, don't let that fool you. It's not a verb. It's describing the stranger. And then we have that linking verb here, was still annoyed. All right. Adverbs. How about JC? What are the adverbs?
Not,
Say it again.
not,
Not. Yes, that is an adverb. Good.
was,
Was is a verb, so we're not going to count that one as an adverb. Remember, adverbs tell how,
still,
still, good.
and then did.
Not did, that's a verb. There is an ly adverb in here.
Oh, readily.
There you go, readily. Good job. All right, I think it's easier to find the subject verb pairs yet. And by the way, if you struggle getting your clauses correct on your homework, do this part first, right here, this subject verb pair, because every clause has its own subject verb pair. And if you find them, that helps you break it up, okay? So how about Harmony? Where are the subject verb pairs here? You're still muted if you're.
Where's the verbs?
It
What's the verbs?
was still annoyed.
Just the verb.
Still
Still is an adverb, so not still.
Was
There you go. Was is the verb.
Who was? What's the subject?
who
Good. Who. Good.
Where else is there a verb?
agree.
Good. Agree is a verb.
Mm,
Is there another verb?
nuh-uh.
One more. There's
Verb.
one more verb.
What is it?
Did.
Yeah.
There you go. Did.
And then what's the subject of that?
Stranger.
Okay, good. Nice job, Harmony. All right, now we got our subject verbs. That makes it a little easier. What about the who clause, William? Where's that?
Who to thrashing?
Who through thrashing. Yes, that whole part there. Good. And then Caden, what about the main clause?
Did not readily agree.
That's not the whole thing, but that's part of it.
Did not.
So it includes did not readily agree, but we have to include the subject here because right here we just have the verbs.
Oh, so like the whole thing?
The whole thing, yes. So this is one of those examples where the who which clause is actually embedded inside the main clause because if I just mark this as a main clause, did not readily agree, that doesn't have a subject with it, right? And I told you earlier, every clause has to have a subject verb pair. So the subject's way back here. This whole who clause is functioning as an adjective. It's telling more about the subject. The stranger, the subject, this is adding more about him, like an adjective almost, like the whole thing is like an adjective, who was still annoyed because of the unjust, harsh thrashing, did not readily agree. So, did not readily agree. If I took that out, the stranger did not readily agree. Okay, so watch out for that. I know that's tricky. Prepositional phrase. How about, let's see, JC.
Because of his unjust, harsh thrashing.
Yes, very good. Because of. That is a preposition. That's why I always tell you guys, don't underline that for a dress up. If you have of next to it, that makes it a preposition. Okay. And the opener, Harmony, what's the opener here?
Bingo. The stranger who
What's the number though?
number one.
Good. Number one, subject. Excellent. Indent, we'll just plug that in there. Capital. All right, we have a comma rule. So what do you think, Caden? What are we going to do with the comma rule? You're muted if you're talking, or maybe you're looking. I'll give you a clue. It has to do with the lesson we talked about today.
Unjust and harsh.
Yes, unjust, harsh, because we can reverse those because of his harsh, unjust thrashing. And we can put an and between because of his unjust and harsh thrashing. So since it passes those two tests, we plug it in right there. That means we can take out one of them and it still independently describes the noun. Okay, good job. And then the end mark. Okay, so for JC, since you came in just a little bit late, I was explaining earlier that today we're going to do 2 grammar lessons, and you're going to have 2 weeks of grammar for homework this week. I'm not assigning any more paragraph writing assignments for this week. We are going to do a little more practice on the test at the end of class, but no writing assignment, only 2 weeks of grammar. And then we have spring break next week. And then when we come back, we're going to get back into the history book and we have to just like plug along in that thing. We're going to make it. So with that, go ahead and turn to page 151. And guess what? We have another comma rule. Yay! We were just talking about how there are so many rules about commas, so many. And here's another one. It does have to do with adjectives again, and this is going to be pretty interesting. This one. So basically, it talks about the adjectives describe a noun or pronoun, and then we're talking about coordinate adjectives. We just learned that. So that basically explains that again. If they independently describe a noun and you can reverse the order and all that, they're coordinate adjectives. Today, we're going to talk again about cumulatives. So here are the two types of adjectives that you list before a noun. Coordinate, like we had just a minute ago, two adjectives before the noun that independently describe the noun. But this one, cumulative, if the first adjective describes the second adjective and the noun that follows. Cumulative adjectives follow this specific order: quantity, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. So they are in a very specific order, and one describes the next, describes the next. They have to be in order to describe the noun. So this is different than coordinate. You cannot reverse the order here. And you cannot add and between. It doesn't sound right. So cumulative is different. Now, I always think of cumulative tests. So, like, I know you guys all do this for maybe even science and history and math, any of the subjects in school. As you go through the school year, you take tests to kind of see how much you know from the beginning of the year. It's cumulative, right? Even the state test is like that. So you're at the end of the grade you're in, and they want to know, what did you learn from the beginning of the grade you're in until now? Did you learn all the standards and all the stuff you're supposed to learn in school? So cumulative means like a lot, like from way back. So the comma rule is here. It says, because cumulative adjectives must be arranged in a specific order, the adjectives are not separated with a comma. So no comma for these. Two tests help determine whether the adjectives before a noun are coordinate or cumulative. So these are the same tests for coordinate adjectives. Can you reverse their order? Can you add and between them? If you answer yes, the adjectives are coordinate. Use a comma. If you answer no, the adjectives are cumulative. Do not use a comma. Here's an example. They entered the immense green forest. The two adjectives are immense and green. Did they describe the noun forest? Are they coordinate adjectives? Do they need a comma? That's the first check in your head. Okay, I see two adjectives. Do the test. Reverse the order. The green immense forest. It says, no, you cannot reverse the order. Size comes before color. So those are two different categories. We have immense, which would be considered a size, and green obviously is a color. So since they're two separate types of adjectives, they're not independently describing the forest. They have to be in that order. And then it says, can you add and between the adjectives immense and green forest? No, you cannot add and. It doesn't sound right. So there's no comma. They entered the immense green forest. Immense and green are cumulative adjectives and are not separated with a comma. Remove the comma between cumulative adjectives, because now in the book, you know how this goes. they're going to put commas where they don't need commas, and they're going to not put commas where they need commas. So you have to figure all that out. So this, if it had a comma, you would just take it out. Marian was a brave young maiden. So brave is an opinion. That's considered an opinion. Young is age. And on the next page is this chart. And this is going to help you, by the way. And what I want you to do to this chart on page 152, and I'll zoom in a little so you can see this a little bit better. I'm going to have you write in a couple things here. So next to that word quantity, in the space to the left, I want you to write the word determiner. That is just another way to label that category. They still mean about the same thing. So determiner and quantity. Quantity is talking about how many, basically, but it could also be an article like a, an, or the. So that's why determiner is a little bit better to describe that category. So determiner is going to tell how many, or it's going to have an article. And then I want you to circle the D in determiner. And then we have, this is the order that we just looked at in the list before. So if I start with determiner and then opinion, circle the O, size, circle the S, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose. So somewhere, someone a long time ago decided in English, this is the order you put cumulative adjectives. I did not know this until I started teaching this class. So lucky you guys learned it early. So here we have determiner or quantity. That's like three, several, or few. Opinion, proficient, funny, smart. Those are all examples of opinions. Size, long, small, huge. Age, old, young, ancient. Shape, circular, curvy, or square. There's more. These are just a few examples. Color, red, blue, green. Origin, English, African, Catholic. So origin is like where it comes from. If it's talking about a thing, where it comes from. And then material, wooden, plastic, cotton. What kind of material is the thing? We're talking about nouns that are things, okay? And then the purpose for the thing. Bullseye target, frying pan, baseball glove. So it's telling what is the purpose for the thing. Okay. And so cumulative adjectives build on each other. Robin was a skilled English archer. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this. Did you guys see this? You probably did. It says dosa scomp. I want you to write dosa scomp. Try to keep it like aligned with the letters that you just circled over here. Because basically the letters that you circled in the first letter of each of these words spells out dosa scomp. It is not a real word. It's a made up word. It's kind of like fanboys or www.asia. It's another one of those to help you remember the order of adjectives. So just write DOSA SCOMP, dosa scomp. So that's what this is. Determiner, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. And then back over here, skilled English archer. So he practiced with several proficient young men. This is just examples here. If someone said he practiced with young, proficient several men, your ear would tell you that it was wrong because that doesn't sound right. Young, proficient several men. That is why the tests work. We have been trained to hear and say adjectives in a certain order, and if you try to rearrange the order of the adjectives, it sounds awkward. So look at this one again. Robin was a skilled English archer. So skilled comes before English because opinion, that's skilled as an opinion, comes before origin, which is English. He practiced with several proficient young men. So quantity or determiner. several. That comes before opinion, which is proficient. And opinion comes before age, which is young. They shot long wooden arrows. Size, long, comes before material, wooden. That's in this list here. So size is here, or actually, yeah, size is here and material is down there. So even though there's stuff in between, you still have to see where it comes on the list, what order it should go in. They aimed at a circular bullseye target. So shape here, shape, circular, comes before purpose, which is down here, which would be bullseye. Okay, so now I have a video I want to share with you from Khan Academy. I've shared some videos like this before. Have you guys ever heard of Dosascomp before? Have we ever talked about that before? Okay, so I'm going to share this video, and I like the way he explains it. And by the way, he's going to read that list, and you have it right here. You can check your list on his list and see if they're the same. And we'll talk about it after the video.
So, grammarians, if you're a native English speaker, the phrase French Old White House might seem a little weird to you. If you're not a native English speaker, it might not. And this is something that I didn't really know about before I started preparing to teach this course, is that there is a specific order that adjectives go in English. This is something that I think we just pick up as English speakers, but if you didn't grow up speaking English, it gets a little tricky sometimes. So the question is, in order to make this seem right, what order do you put these adjectives in? I'm as near about as I can reckon it, making this into the Old White French House. Because there is an order and it goes like this. Determiner, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose. Or for short, Dosascomp. Dosascomp. Oh, okay. That's actually kind of a thing. So a dosa is a South Indian flatbread, and scomp, I'm gonna say, is a word for eating. It's not a word, that's a made-up word, but dosascomp. It sounds like scarf to me. Or chomp. And both of those are verbs that can denote eating, as well as scarf being a garment. So, dosascomp. I just want you to imagine sitting down to a delicious South Indian meal and scomping on some dosas. So, dosascomp. Determiner, and that's words like the or an. Opinion, this is, when you're describing something, there are certain descriptors that not everyone would agree with. So if you're looking at a piece of black metal, everyone will be able to agree that it is black. But if you think it's cool looking or ugly looking, anything that anyone could conceivably disagree about, that's an opinion. So, cool, for example, that would be an opinion. Size, so the cool, big, old, square, black. An origin usually can be, where it's from. So let's say Texan, and then, so we have material, so let's say leather, because leather can be black, and then purpose. This is sort of where we would use what's called a participle or a gerundive to determine what the thing is for. So if we were talking about, I don't know, a lawnmower that you ride around on, right? That's called a riding mower. Right, and the last thing here is the thing itself. So we're looking at, so this thing is the cool, big, old, square, black Texan leather riding mower. But frankly, in most normal English sentences, you're probably never going to use more than 3 adjectives to describe a given thing. like old white French house. Now, sometimes you might find yourself using more than one adjective that fits into the same category. So you might say the exciting, unparalleled green dragon. And you'll notice I put a comma there because when you use two adjectives from the same category, so two opinions, the exciting and unparalleled, you want to separate them with a comma. But generally, if you're just scooting down the Dosa Scump, old white French house, you don't need to separate these non-coordinate adjectives from each other. And we'll get more into commas in the punctuation section. But for now, all you need to remember is Dosa Scump. And if you've never had a dosa, I strongly urge you to look up recipes online, go to a South Indian restaurant, and make and eat this delicious food. And then you're just going to scomp on some dosas. So determiner, opinion, size, age, dosa, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, and then the thing. That's the order that adjectives go in English. Why is this? I have no idea. Sometimes language can be really... the word I tend to use is arbitrary. You can call it random if you like. This is just the way that we've arrived at this order is just basically through random chance and convention and what seems to sound right. And what sounds right for English isn't always what sounds right for other languages. For example, the way we're using adjectives here, we're always putting them to the left of whatever they modify. The exciting, paralleled green dragon. It's all to the left. It's all old white French house. It's all, on this one side of it. And other languages don't do that necessarily. So when you're trying to just throw a bunch of adjectives together on the left side of a noun, this is the order. Just remember, Dosa Scump. And that's how adjective order works in English. You can learn anything. David out.
Okay. So I thought that was helpful to me anyway, to see that and to hear him describe that. So there you have it, Dosa Scump. So as far as the grammar book, we are not going to do the practice page after this page. You're going to work on this week. By the way, this week is week 26 here. So you're going to do weeks 25 and 26 for your homework this week. And that's all your homework is. Okay. You don't have any paragraphs to write or anything. So watch out for those adjectives that are going to be now listed in your homework in this book. And decide if they're coordinate, like he said, if they're coordinate, they're going to come from the same category. So if there are two opinions, like he was saying, the unparalleled, exciting, unparalleled dragon, green dragon, those are from the same category. So you would use a comma. So any questions about what we just talked about today with grammar? All right. Kind of cool. I like that they came up with that Dosa Scump. That stuff helps me, so hopefully it helps you guys too. So we're done with grammar. And now's the part of class, at the end of this class, we're going to do a little bit more state practice. So feel free to, if your mom is there and she wants you to leave because you don't need to do state test practice, that's okay with me. But we're going to do a little bit more today. So I'm going to put the link in the chat to the page that I want you to go to for practice on the state test. So let me do that really quick.
Bye.
Bye, Harmony. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Thank you. I'll see you later. All right. There's the link in the chat. So if you click that, you should go to the website like we had last week. Now we're going to choose a different grade today so we can look at a different one. Yes, Kaden?
So do I have to do it or no?
You already finished your writing part of the test?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
finished
check with
all-
your, oh, sorry, what was that?
I finished all of it, yeah.
Check with your mom and just let her know we're practicing the last little bit of class and see if she's okay if you leave. Check with her first.
Okay.
Okay, and just let me know if she's there. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and log in as a guest again. Are you guys there on the practice test? Okay, good. So log in as guest and then guest session. And today you guys are going to practice grade 8. Even if you're not in eighth grade, that's okay. I want everybody to pick 8. Okay, so go ahead and pick grade 8. Click the first pink box, Smarter Balanced Practice Test. And then you're going to pick the second lighter pink box that says Start Grade 8 ELA Performance Task. Go ahead and click that. You guys good so far? Got it? Okay, click Select. Check your sound. If you heard the little piano sound, go ahead and click I could hear and play the sound in video.
Wait, which one?
Did you play the sound?
No, I'm still like at the 8th grade.
Okay. So is it like a big pink bar that you see there that says Smarter Balance Test? So click that. And then you should click the second light pink box that says ELA Grade 8 Performance Task. Got that? And then select at the bottom left, blue button, and then you should see, let me know if you see the video, play the video for the sound. It goes something like that.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay, and then are you on the place where it says begin test now? Go ahead and click begin test now. Yes, Kaden?
So I just got off the phone with my mom, and she
Okay.
said that it'd be okay if I left.
Okay, sounds good, Kaden. I'll
Thank
see you in
you.
2 weeks. You're welcome.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
yeah.
Bye. All right, so you should be on this page that has on the left side, student directions, it says Penny Argumentative Performance Task. Do you guys see that on your screen? Good. You got it, William? Good, good. Okay, so you're on the right spot. So I want to just look at this one with you because this is a little bit different than the one you did last week. This one's an argumentative essay. I think last week you guys did, oh yeah, the sleeping and napping. So it was more of an informational style essay. This is argumentative. So this would mean you would take a stand on something. You have to make a claim, is what they say. So I'm going to have right here. Oh, before I start this, though, I almost forgot. We're not going to do this today. We're just going to talk about it. When you sit down to do the actual test and your teacher says you may now begin the test, what is the very first thing you're going to do? Raise your hand if you remember. What's the first thing you're going to do after they say you may now begin the test? You guys remember? It has to do with your scratch paper that you have with you. JC?
Make a keyword outline.
Yes, but there's actually one thing before that even. The very first thing is the checklist. Remember how we did that last week? You guys got out a blank page and you just wrote checklist at the top, and then you write down all the things you can remember from your checklist. So like your dress ups, your ly adverb, the who which clause, the strong verb, quality adjective, as many as you can remember. If you don't remember them all, it's okay. That's not part of the test, but that will help you on your score on the test. So make a checklist on one page of your scratch paper. And then on another page of your scratch paper, yes, you make your KWO. So that is correct. And for you and your age, your grade, you'll be doing 5 paragraphs. Okay. So you'll want to do Roman numeral 1, 1 through 5, Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5. And don't forget about those topic clinchers in there for your body paragraphs. Roman numeral 3, 1 through 5, topic clincher, Roman numeral 4, 1 through 5, topic clincher, Roman numeral 5, 1 through 5. It's a lot, I know. So the hardest part about this writing test is the amount of time it's going to take you. The actual test isn't that hard. It's not that bad, but it's the time part. So that's why you're making this giant outline, and that's okay. You're going to take your time on it. And like I said last week, you're not timed on the test. You can take as much time as you need. Your Zoom call might end. So that's where you would schedule another Zoom call to finish the test, but you can take as long as you need. So, um, then after you got your checklist written down and your outlines all ready, then you're ready to start reading the directions on the test itself. So I was going to ask JC if you could just read these 3 paragraphs under task on your computer, please.
In recent years, a heated debate has emerged about money in the United States. This particular debate is not about big economic issues, though. Surprisingly, it is about the economic pros and cons of producing and using pennies. The controversies surrounding the production and continued, wait, the controversy surrounding the production and continued use of pennies is one of the topics that will be part of an upcoming website project for your history class. As part of your initial research, you have uncovered 4 sources about the historical and economic impact of pennies. After you have reviewed these sources, you will answer some questions about them. Briefly scan the sources and the questions that follow. Then go back and read the sources carefully so you will have the information you will need to answer the questions and finalize your research. You may click on the Global Notes button to take notes on the information you find in the sources as you read. You may also use scratch paper to take notes.
Okay, good. Thank you. And so the global notes button, you can use that, but I recommend you just using your lined paper because you already know how to take notes. You guys use the the keyword outline for your notes. You already have it set up and you can use paper. If you want to use the global notes button on the computer, you can. Those are 2 options for you. Okay, so then there you have the task. Now, they're talking about the penny. We all know about the penny. And the question is whether or not the government should continue producing the penny. Now, since this practice test was printed, the government doesn't print pennies anymore. So just pretend that they do. Okay, so we still have pennies in circulation, meaning I bet your mom or dad or somebody in your family or maybe even you guys have change around and pennies. They're still part of our system. We can use them. But the question is, should we stop producing them? And this is where you're going to have to decide, yes, we should stop producing pennies, or no, we should not stop producing pennies. It's like an opinion, but it's an argumentative essay, so you're actually giving a claim. And even if you're in your mind, if you're like, well, I can see both sides, so it really doesn't matter. I guess I agree with both. For the sake of this paper, though, you have to pick one side or the other. Even if it's not really accurate with how you think. It's about typing this paper. Okay. So the next step then would be to look over on the right side of your screen, the blue box with a 1. This is your first part of section of this test. So it says source 4. By the way, this has 4 sources. Let's just scroll through here. Scroll, scroll, scroll till you see source number 1. Source number 1 is penny wise or 2.4 cents foolish. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Source number 2 is the penny worth it. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Source number 3, give a penny, save the day. Keep scrolling. Source number 4, the ever-changing penny. So because this is a higher grade than what we practiced last week, there's 4 sources. So if you're in a higher grade, you probably will have 4 sources to look at. If that's the case, I recommend your body paragraphs are 4. And then if you count your introduction and your conclusion, that's actually 6 paragraphs. So don't let that scare you though. You guys, that's easy because each source is its own paragraph. That's how you're going to handle this, okay? And use those 4 sources for those 4 body paragraphs and then your introduction introducing those topics, and your conclusion, that's where you put the most significant thing about pennies, and why. So that's the format for these paragraphs. So, any questions about that so far? Okay, so there's four sources here. So let's scroll back at the top. It does say over here on under one, source number 4 describes how some people want to eliminate the penny from the United States economy. So not only stop producing, but stop using it, like just get rid of it. And then it says, explain how the information in source number 2 adds to the reader's understanding of the potential effects of eliminating pennies in the United States. And then it says, give 2 details from source number 2 to support your explanation. So just like last week, you're going to look for the sentence that tells you what you're supposed to do here. And that is the second sentence right here that says, explain how the information in source number 2 adds to the reader's understanding of the potential effects of eliminating pennies from the United States, in the United States. It's a long sentence. But just like we did last week, I want you to type that sentence in as a statement. Instead of saying explain how, you're just going to start where it says the information. So click inside that rectangle box there and just put exactly that sentence for your first sentence. The information in source number 2. Finish that sentence. If you're a slow typer, don't worry about it. It's just going to take you time. That's why that's the hardest part about the test is the time. So it's okay. Just keep pecking away at it. Give me a thumbs up when you got it typed. Okay. And your sentence should say, the information in source number 2 adds to the reader's understanding of the potential effects of eliminating pennies in the United States. Okay. So I know that you're copying this sentence, and that is okay. That's actually really good because that will get you points. Because what you're doing is you're looking at what do they want me to put here? What are they wanting me to explain? And then I'm putting it so that they know when they grade this, oh, that student knows what we want. It's super simple, you guys. This is like easy to do, and you get points for that. Okay. So start with that sentence, like turn whatever question they're asking you to do into your first sentence. And then you're going to see give 2 details from source number 2 to support your explanation. So that's basically at minimum 2 more sentences, 2 details to support what you just said from source 2. Now you can add a couple more sentences to explain it a little bit more if you need to. So let's just scroll down to source number 2. Source number 2 is the penny worth it? And for the sake of time right now, because we won't be able to read all of this, I want you guys to skim. On the day of the test, though, I really want you to read everything. You just take your time and read everything. But for the sake of time now, you can look at this source 2 called Is the Penny Worth It? And see if you can find 2 details to support the potential effects of eliminating pennies in the United States. And then you're going to change some of the words. So when you find something that you can use, change it up a little bit like you do with your keyword outline and put it in your own words to support what you just said. So you would say, for example, is a great way to start the next sentence. For example, in source number 2, it states, and then you just find one for now. Go ahead and skim through source 2 and see if you can find one detail to support the effects of eliminating pennies. Okay, I see you guys are still working on that. Can you tell me what you have so far, William, on yours? What was your second sentence that you started?
For example, in source 2, it states Mark Waller, who is wait, oh wait, the tab closed.
Oh, it closed?
Yeah.
It's okay. You were on the right track. It's okay because I know sometimes when you flip between Zoom and the test. So you were, I think you were talking about Chris Ward, who was a spokesperson for the Army and Air Force Exchange Service. Okay, were you gonna tell his quote? Because his quote says in the first paragraph, two pennies are too heavy and are not cost effective to ship. Is that what you were gonna say? Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a really good one. And if you pull it directly from the source like that, you want to use those quotation marks because you can word it word for word if you pull it direct. Okay, so you have two choices. You can do a direct quote or you can put it in your own words. So that was a good start. And then what you would do is pick um, a second explanation or a second detail that it supports that. Okay. How about you, JC? What sentence did you come up with?
So I put the information in source number 2 adds to the reader's understanding of the potential effects of eliminating pennies in the United States. For example, in source number 2, it states that eliminating pennies can have a bad impact on prices. Although discontinuing pennies can negatively impact prices, removing the penny can save more time.
Nice. Okay, good. Those are great. I really like that. Good job. So it's also really good. I want you guys to make sure to read it back to yourself like that before you move on in the test, because sometimes, and it happens to me literally almost every time, I am typing along and my brain is thinking and I'm looking and thinking, and sometimes maybe I forget a word. So that way you go back when you're done, read it, see if you're happy with it, make sure it's complete, and then you would move on to number 2, which is this is the one where you would check off the boxes under the source that you find that claim. Now, notice this one has extra boxes here for both or neither. So for this part of the test, if you click on 2, you have source 3 and source 4. We're not checking source 1 and 2 yet. Okay, you're only looking at 3 and 4, and if they both have these claims or neither. So you're going to be checking one box in each of those lines for each claim. And then, of course, your number 3 will be your big essay. And if it's argumentative, which I think it might be, you have to pick a side. You have to tell what your claim is, what side you stand on, and then your paragraphs will support that. All right. You guys got this. We're done practicing for now. So you're ready whenever your test is. You have until May to take it. So it might be after spring break. But anyway, I won't see you next week. So happy Easter, everybody. And then I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Happy Easter, bye.
Thank you. Bye, JC.